So, hey guys, Chauzu here. When I record this video, we've just had it confirmed that the end of month batch for January 2024 will be the first Egghead batch. The units have not been fully confirmed or what they do or anything, but well, that's still the info I need to start thinking into the future. And the main question of this video is, what do I think we'll get for the global anniversary? And there are obviously some reasonable guesses we can have. In the end, only Bandai knows, but I do feel like I can be good at guessing from time to time, but obviously my initial prediction for New Year turned out to be wrong, so yeah. That's what happens when you guess. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. Like, the important thing is the logic between it. First, let's just recap what we can expect in the future months up until the big 10th anniversary of One Piece Treasure Cruise. If we start at January 2023, so exactly 1 year ago, the end of the month batch was actually Rayleigh Gaban and V2 Whitebeard. No, not V2 Whitebeard, it's like V3 or V4. But yeah, the shit Whitebeard at least is very bad. But yeah, we got this batch pretty well. The Whitebeard is unremarkable. The Rayleigh Gaban, one of the best normal legends from last year. I like them a lot. But if we had to classify this, I'd call it a Wano batch. Like, this is a Wano flashback batch, basically, but still very much Wano connected. Then, at the end of February 2023, that's when the global anniversary happens. So we get anniversary legends. And last year, we had the ASL batch. So we had a new Ace and Luffy and Sabo legends. So as you can see, that's a lot different than what we got in January with Wano. And if we move 1 month ahead to March 2023, which is another filler month when we don't really expect to get anything special, we went back to Wano and we got a Killer and a Hawkins legend that we waited for quite some time. Like, when these dropped, their battle had, well, not long past, but it wasn't really that recent, at least from my own memory. I might be wrong here, feel free to correct me. But yeah, we got Hawkins and Killer here. Classic filler legends, nothing special. Like, Killer was made to be good with the V3 kid, and Hawkins was Hawkins, like, he does his own thing. Then, at April 2023, we have the classic filler before any batch, and we usually just get something so we can have the end of month events and like 1 week of content before we go into the actual anniversary at the middle of May. And last year it was just one legend in V2 Jack, and it did feel really random, like not many expect a Jack. But if you classify this, it's obviously Wano again. And then at the middle of May we got the 9th anime batch, or batches I should say. First, this was Luffy Yamato and Oden Toki, which I must say is one of the most disappointing batches ever in this game. Then we had the Sanji and Queen for the treasure map, and Zoro and King for the Kisna. So those were the main batches of the first half of 2023. And if we're to classify the 9th anime batches or something, well, it's Wano again. So basically we have Wano, 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 not Wano, and Wano. And this is not like any scientific evidence or something. The main thing I want to point out is the fact that even if the main theme was Wano, for the global anniversary they decided to do something completely different. And my prediction is that the same thing might happen this year. So basically this year, for January, we know that we're going into Egghead. And we can also presume that most batches moving forward for a while will be Egghead. Thankfully, well, I might say some spoiler things for anime viewers. This is your warning. I will continue after this. Like, thankfully with Egghead, it's a lot more broad than Wano. Sure, a lot of action is on Egghead, but we jump around to different locations. And if you've been following the manga, you probably have a lot of ideas for potential legends to get. And I have a good feeling that it will be a lot more fresh than Wano was overall. Wano was very centric with units, like not a lot of different locations or such. But during this Egghead arc, we're sure to get a lot of legends from different places, and not just from the island Egghead, for example. But it's also important to note that Egghead literally just started. Like, it makes sense that the end of January batch is Egghead, like Lilith Legend is obvious. Looks like it's going to be Bonnie as well, also pretty obvious, even if I think they could have waited a bit. But I understand at the beginning of Egghead, there's not that much to choose from in terms of legends. And I'm sure they could make a good Egghead batch for Global Annie too. But, as I said, we both have Global Annie, we had the filler after that, and then we had the filler before the JP Annie, and we also have the JP Annie then. And all of this is going to be Egghead. And not only that, but we have filler legends in between, like if you get a PvP legend, Trash Map legend, and Keystone legend. Like, usually the months follow the same theme. So if we get a Egghead legend for March, for example, most likely if we get a Trash Map legend, which you get every month nowadays, that should also be Egghead. So we can run out of stuff pretty quickly. So I know in this video I'm going to get comments that, oh, this should happen soon, this should happen soon. I'm sure that someone will say, well, Lucha legend, but it's like, okay, have some time perspective. It's not going to happen that soon, unless I'm super out of touch with the timeline, which is also possible. But my logic here is that we're getting the Egghead IP in, we're doing the best we can at the end of January 2024. And then we can take 2 months to get a lot of interesting units, build up a batch, and most likely continue pushing the Stella Legends up until the 10th anniversary, which will probably be Egghead focused, but who knows what the actual units will be. Since it's the 10th anniversary, there's always the potential of it being something else, something special, but this is not the video for that. This is for a global anniversary. So what are the options for Global Annie then? Well, first, we can't ignore Egghead. It could be Egghead. And even if it's not the actual island of Egghead, it can be stuff happening in the current arc. Like fairly soon, I know we'll be moving to different places. We'll be checking up what's going on with Law, who will encounter Blackbeard. We have Kid with Shanks a bit. I don't think the actual conflict that happens is that soon. But we get some freshen up. And we of course know that Law will have that girl body very shortly. And we just know that will be a legend, like Bandai can already see the money from doing a girl Law legend. Wouldn't surprise me if they try and do that for other male characters eventually, just because people like that kind of stuff, at least some people. So it could be some Egghead or Egghead related, but I want to point out that we have some very relevant anime material that hasn't been covered, that is big enough that it could be its own batch, and it's still not being made into a batch. And if they don't do it soon, like, it's going to be wasted material, which is very unlike OPTC. It basically makes everything they can into batches and legends and such. They basically don't skip anything. And I'm of course talking about what happens between Wano and Egghead, and there's basically 2 relevant things in particular. First, we have Cross Guild. And I can already imagine people face palming here, like, surely you're not going to predict Cross Guild for Global Annie, just like you did for New Year. And I will say, yes, I will. I will predict it again. Until we get that Cross Guild batch, I'm going to predict it. And I don't see Cross Guild getting a batch before Global Anniversary, because as I said, Egghead for January, we usually stay focused to the theme of a month. We don't go in different directions. Like this current month, for example, with the final Wano batch, they ended up doing Wano for Trash Map and Kisna. Like, that's just what Bandai does. It follows the theme. You very rarely break from that theme. So the Global Anniversary having a theme of what happens between Wano and Egghead makes a lot of sense. Could be cross-skilled, and I say what I said in my New Year video. Perfect to make 3 legends, just like they did for Global Anniversary. 1 final tap, 1 super tandem, 1 rush. Not the case here, they could do it this time though, like rush didn't exist at this point. So they could do that, would be super cool. Of course, we also have the conflict with like Blackbeard and Boa and Rayleigh could also be a cool batch. I'm obviously biased since I think cross-skill has a lot more potential. On the other hand, cross-skill is not like dead after this, so it could return in the future. But I also feel like cross-skill is so big, so it could get multiple batches. So I see no reason to wait either. So I'm, again, for the second time, crossing my fingers for cross-skilled. And no, I'm not going to predict cross-skilled for 10th Annie. If it doesn't happen here, like if cross-skilled doesn't happen here, I'm not going to predict it for a long time. Like, I don't see it happening then. Like, I know they are going to be returning a bit during Egghead, like a small cameo, like what's going on kind of deal, but still not that big. And as I said, very soon, it's just going to be so many potential legends to do overall. So something like that is my predictions, either a Boa and Blackbeard and Rayleigh batch, something like that. The main issue with that, of course, is, well, there's a lot of different events, might not be that much to fill it with. I think cross-skill has a lot more potential unit-wise, and could even be both. Somehow, don't think both will get legends, but maybe like rare recruits, stuff like that. Like if they do a cross-skill, for example, they could do a Kizuna for the Boa and Blackbeard conflict. They could give Rayleigh a 6+, for example, could be cool. But yeah, that's my prediction. Let me know if you agree. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.